Hello everyone, Glorious King Gabe here, and welcome to another episode of Gabe's Custom Railway Workshop. And in this video, I'll be talking about my custom of Barry the Rescue Engine. Before I talk about how I made my custom, let me talk about Barry's history. Barry was supposed to star in a book called Barry the Rescue Engine, written by Christopher Awdry, but the publishers of the Railway series at the time weren't interested. They were more interested in more stories about Thomas the Tank Engine. So, Barry the Rescue Engine, both the book and the character, were rejected, and never came to be in the Railway series. But as time went by, we received more information about Barry. All this information about Barry has been confirmed in Sodor, Reading Between the Lines, written by Christopher Awdry, an interview with Christopher Awdry by a fan, Sodor Island Models, and finally, an interview with Richard Awdry, Christopher's son, during the third Awdry Extravaganza on the Talyllyn Railway. Barry was supposed to be a BR Class 2 262 tank engine, or a BR Class 2MT to be short. Barry was named after Barry Island Scrapyard in Wales, where he resided until he was rescued. Barry would have appeared in his original paint scheme, which is BR Black with red and white lines. But because he never appeared in the series, he never received a Northwestern Railway paint scheme. But we do know that if Barry was supposed to be in the series, he was going to be the number 13. Unfortunately, we do not know anything about his story. That hasn't stopped us from making our own versions of his story. Speaking of fan stories, some people thought that Barry was a tender engine, specifically an LMS IVET 2MT class. I used to believe that too until those interviews came out. You know, it's kind of funny because those tender engine designs were based off of an tank engine design of the same name. And you know what's funnier? That we actually do have an LMS 2MT tank engine character in Thomas the Tank Engine. That character being Arthur. With that out of the way, let's talk about how I made my custom of Barry. I used a bootleg of a Thomas Wooden Railway Arthur. This bootleg Arthur has uneven proportions and a Thomas face. But hey, that's what I get for getting a bootleg. Now I could have bought another Thomas Wooden Railway Arthur, the official one, but I didn't feel comfortable customizing him since, you know, he isn't a common character. I felt more comfortable modifying and customizing a bootleg. And because he's a bootleg, he was easy to take apart. I had to shave down his boiler, that way it was leveled with his smoke box. This part took a while. I unintentionally made the boiler slanted, but the front part was leveled with the smoke box. I was going to continue, but the more I looked at it, the more I actually liked the slanted boiler look. So I kept it. I pulled out my milliput and covered the various parts of his boiler that were uneven. I also used it to shape his nose. While inspecting his body, I noticed that his bunker was also uneven, so I pulled out some cardboard and some milliput to make his back even. Once all the milliput was dried, I sanded down the excess on his body and his nose. Next, I focused my attention on his face. I repainted his face gray, his eyes white, and tried to give him an expression. This first one looks a little creepy, if I'm honest. I went back to the body. I saw that some of the surface wasn't even, so I used white putty to even everything out. Again. Once I thought everything was smooth, I sanded it again and started painting. Instead of painting Barry black, I decided to paint him blue. Now I was trying to figure out what shade of blue I wanted, because I didn't want to give him the standard blue that Thomas, Edward, and Gordon wear. After several shades of blue, I landed on this nice mix of dark blue and purple. I have also given him a gray footplate. Then I painted the sides of his footplate black, but I didn't like it, so I painted it gray instead. Then I painted his windows, his doors, and his lining. I originally gave him dark purple lining, but I didn't like it, so I changed my mind. I gave his face a few more coats of gray and tried giving him a new mouth. I repainted his purple lining into a nice maroon color, aka the same color that Arthur is painted. I gave his face a nice little smile. Finally, I painted NWR on the side of his tanks. And that is how I made my custom of Barry the Rescue Engine. And just for the heck of it, I'm going to show you some edits I did of Barry. Here he is painted in BR Black. Here he is painted black with NWR on his tanks, but with red lining. And here he is painted black with, once again, NWR on his tanks, but with blue lining. I am very proud of how well this custom turned out to be, and after learning about Barry and making this custom, I've become a big fan of Barry the Rescue Engine. Tell me what you think of my custom Barry down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, thank you for visiting Gabe's Custom Railway Workshop.